Alabama's general manager, Courtney Morgan, went viral saying it takes $40 million to win a national championship in college football in this era. I haven't really said what people said about this clip, but in recent months, they've been saying a lot of outside fans or the media has been saying, can these Southern schools last for the next 10 years, the next 20 years for how college football is going, because we're just paying players about the woozah, just you want some, you Oprah in this bitch. Everybody gets some. But Alabama and like the Southern Conference, they don't have as much boosters, I would say, as a USC, a Miami, where the hubs are, Michigan, things like that. Because even Cal now with Cal could become a powerhouse with their boosters. They have a lot of boosters that run clothing lines and things of that nature. But with Alabama and Kalen DeBoer, the boosters might not buy into a 9-3 season every year, and a lot of the Alabama fans, I would say, they are bought into Kalen DeBoer, but there's little chirpers like people on Paul Feinbaum shows saying like we don't really like this guy because he's from the Midwest and he's not really a Southern guy, so he doesn't buy into the program. For when Kalen DeBoer has to throw his pitch to boosters every year, hey, this is why we need to build a $40 million roster. So will the boosters buy in every year to Alabama building a $40 million roster? Because that's what LSU is doing right now. And can LSU even do that every year? We don't know. Like a USC, hey, we gonna compete every year. Like coming up forward, you can best believe we gonna be up there with y'all, Alabama's and the Miamis of the world. But this guy right here, Courtney Morgan, I'm not really a fan of him. I don't really have nothing against him, but he comes from California. He's from Torrance, California, just like Steve Sarkisian. Sarkisian got his shot at USC, but things didn't. It fell out with Sarkisian at USC. This guy, he chooses Michigan over USC, just like Mason Graham. I'm not really a fan of Mason Graham. It's just a little joke. I got nothing against these guys, but they choose Michigan over USC, which I'm not too fond of. So he chooses that route, goes into the pharmaceutical business. He's a director of player personnel for a different tons of programs: Michigan, Fresno State, what's the other? Not Sac State, but somewhere up in Northern Cal. He did that too, and then now he's at Alabama. He was at Washington at one point too. So I think he has former former go arounds with Kalen DeBoer at Washington, so that's probably how they know each other. But this guy's well known. He's earned this job. Because a lot of people that look like this dude right here, I always say they give you the "What's up, boss," the big boss or whatever. They call this guy Big Boss Man, which he is Big Boss Man around Alabama right now. But I'm saying when they call you the boss, they don't really take you seriously. So this guy, he's a big serious dude right now. So when I see him, but they might be faking ball or whatever, or when I see a person like him, I'm like, how he recruit Ryan Williams? I don't know what is going, but I'm like when I just out from the outside looking in, I'm like, I just how Ryan Williams just kind of seemed like happy go, like this guy kind of seems serious. How they gel, but I don't know nothing about what they got going on the inside. The fans don't know what Kalen DeBoer is pitching to the boosters. We don't know, but what we will know in the next couple months is what Alabama will be doing with this roster that they have coming up. They lose out on Hollywood Smothers. He was a transfer back who goes to Texas, and Alabama was recruiting him in high school too. They lose out on him. A lot of people are mad at what Kalen DeBoer did in the portal. They didn't really get a lot of portal pieces. They do have a 5-star running back, Ezekiel Crowell, I think that's his name. He should be nice. That he should be the starting back for them. And the thing I didn't realize was the Jaden Knott in the pass blocking last year. Like it really matters with the running backs, man. Like Jam Miller too. I'm not just saying Jaden Knott, but when Jam Miller was hurt, you saw the difference when Ty Simpson needed him, and when he was pass blocking in there, Jam Miller, he bulked up from 2 years ago to last year. He was a totally different back. So we'll see what Alabama does this year. But go ahead and do what the YouTubers say. I'm not gonna say it. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. But we're gonna get into this interview of what Courtney Morgan is talking about with this new thing. So stick with me.
A bunch of other questions I got for you. Let's talk about Alabama's second annual showcase that you guys are doing right now. What is this all about, and how does this also sort of highlight and
A day,
showcase
I'm
what you
pretty
guys are
sure.
doing at Alabama?
A day.
I think the primary purpose is to bring in engagement, really, outreach and engagement for different brands and different corporations to come and kind of touch and feel the fabric of Alabama athletics, Alabama football, so they can get a up close look on what the benefits would be to activate and engage with Alabama football. And we figure we bring them to us. We're not in a huge metropolitan city, so but we do have a lot to offer here. So what better way is just to bring them.
Like I said, them southern cities, man. Well, I'm just saying it's the only thing there. Like those type of things. Uh, was it South Carolina, Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss, especially? You know, they say in Oxnard, that's the only thing to do out there. I don't know about Louisiana, LSU, Baton Rouge. It might be the only thing to do out there. So, but USC, Michigan, they have a lot of things to offer. A lot of boosters want to offer. Alabama, they might be one of more. Hey, it goes with them. They're more conservative with their money out there, and they're more conservative with their politics too.
Here on campus and engage with our student athletes to get a chance to really feel the culture of Alabama football.
It's so interesting that you're doing this because look, you can't get a more
This dude
storied
ain't
name
breathing
and
though,
storied
bruh.
reputation than Alabama football. I guess what does that sort of say about the state of college football that a brand like Alabama has to really go out and compete for and work with all of these brands?
Well, I think there's a lot of layers to Alabama that's more than just football. I think with any organization, I think it's the people that drive the organization, right? So I think what we want to do is get people to really interact with the people behind the brand of the script daddy.
Not gonna say it.
And I think that's where we really build bridges and people can are able to interact and see the mindset and the innovation of the people here. And I think where college football is headed, anytime you can build relationships, um, you plant seeds because things might not happen right now, but as you continue to plant seeds, we've seen a lot of things come to fruition over the course of a year from things that we did last year at the showcase. So I think you never can become stagnant and complacent. You can't rest on just your brand. I think that you just have to always find ways to stay ahead of the curve, and that's what we're doing here.
Can you tell us any of the brands that you're working with, or the brands that you guys are courting to work with a lot of your athletes?
Facts.
Well, we reached out to Universal Music. Um, I know Beats by Dre be here. NASCAR, who've done a lot of things with NASCAR even last year. Things that
NASCAR.
we can are different companies that we can continue to be creative with. We want to work with companies who
Facts.
will
Big
let
Rick
us create
Ross.
our own storylines that kind of
No,
relate and have a
I like
synergy with what
dude.
they're doing. So those are just a few right now that we reached out to.
We're talking to you right now in your office, which is it looks like it's like an NFL draft room, with all of the stuff that you got on your board behind you and all that. NIL and budgeting. I'm curious if you can give us some insight into
You
what
can't
it's
see
like
it, but
as a
I see the
general
names.
manager in terms of building a roster. What goes into your mind when you are looking for a particular player and how they sort of fit for Alabama, and also the budgetary restraints maybe that you have on certain players.
Yeah, I think the best way I can describe it is just fluid. It's you have to be a fluid thinker. You have to be able to think on the move. Things are constantly changing. I think from a budgetary standpoint, you have a responsibility that you're held accountable for the money that's spent. And I think the biggest thing what we try to do is limit the
Alright.
risk of investment, right? So
We're gonna try to get
it's
to
a
the
lot of
nitty
vetting,
gritty.
it's a lot of planning, but really just you're investing in the people. So if you're going to invest in the people, you have to have a really clear process on vetting, getting to know.
100%. Because if you're not invested in Alabama, it's not gonna work for you. Or You see him, he going yeah, he totally he look like he invested in Alabama for sure. The home cooked meals and the restaurants and all that. Yeah, you fit right in, brother. I
For that
bet you do.
person, not just on
I can't lie, man. I low key want to move to South too. Cali getting too saturated. There's too many people out here, man. Y'all making the state goofy out here, dude. Can't do nothing without a car, with car traffic, bro. Like I just want to have an open road. Can't even have that no more. But
the
my
football
bad. That was a
field,
little rant,
really
man.
who they are
Yeah,
in their wiring
yeah.
and their love for the game, and really just trying to plan out um, 1 to 2 years ahead and forecasting what the roster is going to look like. It's hard because every December or every January now you're facing a transfer portal, which you
Thank
can't
you.
really plan for some things that are going to happen. But just having a strategy and able to really evaluate from the inside out. And our biggest thing is really evaluating our roster,
Mm.
keeping a pulse on the guys on our team, so you can understand
Oh, Alabama fans, though. Let's talk about your practices. Yeah, these spring practices that I've been watching, it is not looking good because the outside reports from the linebacker that transferred to Ohio State, former Alabama guy, he's been saying, "Hey, how it was that it hasn't been the Saban era, or it looks totally different." Alabama's practices, and then another guy, Hollywood Smothers, he says it was a win championship now mentality at Texas, and he decommits from Alabama. So if you put in two and two together with the Hollywood Smothers for what he said, and the dude from Ohio State, it's like, hey, and from what I'm seeing, the coaches aren't getting on the players. It's like they're going through the motions when they mess up. They're not really like coaching them up. They're not really drilling them. If I'm watching a Florida practice or any other practice I'm watching, they're getting after their players. Coaches are drilling them. Even some Florida State people, I ain't gonna lie. The coaches were getting into them. But maybe I need to watch more of Alabama's spring practices. Maybe they weren't showing enough. Maybe I'm just being a little biased, being a little haterish right now. Don't sue me. But yeah, man, it had like Kalen DeBoer looks like la di da di da over there. Not I wouldn't say Lincoln Riley la di da di da, but it's a little like Care Bear la di da di da, because that's what y'all had on the O line last year. A lot of Care Bears, Hayden Proctor, New Dewberry. Oh my God, that dude was a big Care Bear, biggest Care Bear of them all. And especially him, he might be a Care Bear too.
what you need moving
But
forward. But it all starts with high school recruiting. If you do a good job of high school recruiting, you don't have as many holes um, in your roster to go fill in the portal. And also just keeping a strong mind or a
right.
strong emphasis on retention.
But the thing with y'all got to keep the board. You got to 9-3 isn't good enough. Missing the playoff next year. It depends on the losses Kalen DeBoer has next year and how it goes. I'm not saying they're gonna have a 9-3 record. They could have a better record than this year, but I would expect more losses out of Alabama this year because they're gonna have a starting quarterback coming in this year. So in that instance, they would probably keep Kalen DeBoer just because of the starting quarterback situation and giving them another chance. But yeah,
Right? If you recruit well in high school and you're accurate with your evaluations on both the person and the player, then retention is where your most of your money wants to be spent. If you're doing a good job on that, then you'll be spending more money on retention than you do in the portal.
That's really interesting. I guess you're talking about retention. I mean, is the expectation that you're going to have to fill holes, like a guy's going to leave after a couple years, or is the expectation that our hope is that he stays all 4 years of his school life?
Yeah, our plan, we want people to stay. We want to build a stable culture. So it's hard to build a stable culture.
you already said a stable culture. Not do you want it stable or do you want a winning culture? You got to choose your words wisely now, man. Because I'm doing this. I'm peeping what's going on. I'm a critique what you're saying. I got to pick out what you're saying now. So I would have picked better word choices right now just for the fan base. Fan base wise, stable. That's what I just said. Like stable just means, neutral. What's going on in practice? Going through the motions. Hey, good job, great job, not coach them up. So I'm just saying, just better
When
watch.
you're bringing 30, 40 new
I'm not
guys
the
in the
one to,
locker room every
you
year.
know.
So,
Hey, you the
like I
guy,
said,
you
the
the general
biggest thing is
manager,
our
brother.
evaluation
I'm just
process on the
saying.
high school level has to be solid. And we're always constantly trying to find ways to improve it, trying to build a different methodologies of how we're going to go after different high school kids and evaluate the person. I think you talk to a lot of people in the NFL. I've talked to a lot of GMs, and even just my own experience. You rarely miss on the athlete. You always miss on the person, right? And if you can get it right with the person, again, you'll be in a good situation on the transfer portal to try to retain your roster.
I'm seeing what he's saying because the person is what makes the athlete. I mean, because if you can't put in that work ethic every day, give 110% on the field and off the field, you can mess up your career. So I definitely understand what he's
So
saying
you'll
right
see
there.
smaller
The
recruiting classes
person
where more
makes the
emphasis on
athlete.
retention.
Great
I think
word
we've had
choice in
two
here.
really
Great
good
word choicing.
recruiting classes my first 2 years here, and we've been pretty spot on with our evaluations. So we have a lot of young talent. So when you have a lot of young talent, retention is probably the number one
Maybe.
goal in mind as you go into player acquisition.
Well, so let's just say there's a wide receiver or maybe an offensive lineman. And granted, you're in the SEC. You're competing against other teams with insane budgets and also high demand as well. What's the process like for a player that you're really interested in? You're reaching out to the agent. What happens and what's the competition like for a particular guy? And are you always worried that you might go over budget just to make sure he doesn't go to LSU?
I think you always have to start with like a walk away number.
Hmm.
You have to know, you have to have a threshold. You have to know, you know, there's a point where you just can't do it because you have to think about what's best for your roster and the whole team. You want to be competitive. I think what we're always doing, myself, I'm always doing a market analysis, meaning that I'm talking to a lot of people, trying to gather as much information. I think the majority of my job is collecting information, right? And that's from different sources, just kind of having a
Low key, like he's saying information, so I'm just gonna speculate right now. If he's talking to agents and everything, I don't think that's a really good idea, in my view, because it's like the agents could just be driving up the price on his ass every time. Like, hey, this is what we want. Hey, this is like agents might be going behind his ass and being like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So this is probably probably why you left out on Hollywood Smothers, bro, or something. They went behind your back and said, "Hey, Texas, they just driving up the price every time, and this is how we have the state we're in now, and that's how you know the agents are getting paid more they should be making anyways right now." So
pulse on what's going on so you can start having financial conversations with agents and players with the right market value because there really is no true market value here. You don't There's no set market. Players and schools kind of set the market, so you have to figure out in your mind what this player's market value is to you and stick with your plan. And really it just requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of discipline. You have to be a
I mean, yeah, you have to be disciplined for the job, but I'm just saying the agents are cruel as hell, bro. You got to be. It has to be somebody else, like a mediator, something, man, like a broker, the bank. It cannot be an agent. You cannot be talking to these agents, man. They're just trying to drive up the price on you. Hey, this guy worth this, and this school's offering this when they're not offering that. And that's all they're doing with these boys.
disciplined team,
Come on, man.
disciplined personnel department, and stay within your plan. And sometimes there's means certain guys you can't take, because it's not good for the overall benefit of your roster.
Mike Gundy a
Hollywood.
few years ago was criticized, maybe it was even last year, when he had said, Dan Lanning's Oregon Ducks had an NIL budget of about $40 million. I guess my question is that now like the floor now to compete for national championships? Is $40 million now the floor that you guys got to spend to get there?
somewhere in that ballpark. Somewhere in that ballpark. You never really know really what other schools are spending because everyone has creative ways um, in the third party NIL, the authentic NIL um, portion of their spending to pay players. So you really don't know what other people are really doing. You kind of do the math in your own head, by monitoring what other.
But what's stopping like a dude just randomly giving Lincoln Riley or um Alec Golish, Kalen DeBoer like $2 million? You know what I'm saying? Like what does that do? And then hey, give my boy Ryan Williams this 2 million. And then just under so we just doing we back to '06, '05. We back to SMU. That's what we doing under the table. We doing some of those Eric Dickerson. That's what we doing. '80s. We doing the
Schools
Pony
and competition
Express.
are doing.
What we
You're doing
doing?
well. That's probably
Or we logging it in the
more than forty
books?
million dollars, but you just never really know. So what we've
What's
done
going
is
on?
try to take things in our own hand, um, and come up with different ways that we can help offset the cap through content creation, third party deals. If you spend the time
Right,
worrying about what your
right.
competition is doing, you're not taking care of what's going on in your own program.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I didn't know that you guys don't know what the other schools are spending. I guess are there schools that are spending more than 40 million?
You're one sentence away from launching your website with Base
You're a
44.
bum.
Since the beginning of the internet,
Get out of here,
here's a
ad.
fun fact.
Skip 10 seconds. He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
Probably so.
Wow.
Probably so. It's competitive. And some schools are. I think
I wonder
every
if they
school's
can
in an
take it
arms
back.
race to trying to figure out,
Like, hey, like we're
how they
done
can
paying you because you
offset that
suck
cap
this
number.
year.
And it's a constant thing that we're always talking about and trying to figure out.
Would
Dude,
you
if
prefer it
Texas
if
lose to Ohio
it was
State early
more
in the year
disclosure of like it is
and
in
we
the
like
NBA,
give
where
me that
everybody
money
knows
back.
what every team's
Shoot.
salary cap is, or in the NFL? Or do you like
Ab-
that it's that nobody knows?
Absolutely. I like to have one universal rules and laws that
This dude
everyone has to
swings in
abide
his
by,
chair, bro. Stay
and
still.
now the best man may the best man win.
There was a report today that the NCAA is considering changing its eligibility rules. Basically, athletes would have 5 full years of eligibility from the time of their 19th birthday or their high school graduation. So basically, no more waiver requests, red shirts, or exceptions. I'm curious your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on these eligibility rules that are apparently being floated out there?
I think that would be awesome.
Uh-huh.
5 years and one-time transfer.
Well, that actually gets to my next question because President Trump is issued an executive order. Obviously, it wouldn't happen for this next season, but it would allow just one transfer. I mean, I know we see a lot of guys transferring many times. Look, I'm a Colorado Buffalo, and Dion, it seems like, has to deal with this every year. But would you prefer it, I guess, just from the stability standpoint,
He
to
seems like
know
an
that this
old
guy only
era
has one
Colorado
transfer so that
Buffalo
kind of
too.
gives you a little bit more stability in your
Like the old
roster?
era.
Absolutely. I would love to have a
Yeah,
one-time transfer
yeah,
rule. I
yeah.
mean, think about now with no spring portal, how great that is that we can go into spring ball and leave spring ball knowing the roster is set.
What do you think, though? I mean, it seems like because there's no strict rules in Congress or any sort of legislation, it seems like every year these rules are changing. Does that make your job difficult because you don't know next year what the rules are going to be here? And you're not, Colorado State. You're competing for national championships here.
Yeah, like I tell you before, you try to predict and project for 2 years
Come
out,
on.
but I think like it goes back to retention. I think if you just focus on retaining the players that bring the most value, the players that help you win championships.
Did Colorado State get 20 million too? Or is it just like D1s? Like I thought everybody like there's a collective that everybody gets 20 million and then the NIL collective that's like a boost upon the 20 million. That's when the playing field it differentiates through different programs and everything. And that's when
And you keep that
people
as your
can win,
focus,
people can
then
lose,
that's
people have the
probably the
best
only strategy you can
chances.
have right now in uncertain market.
What do you? I mean, obviously, you guys have an amazing alumni roster of guys that can help contribute to NIL funds. What do you think of former players contributing to NIL? Is that important for you guys to offset what you guys don't have in the budget.
Yeah, the thing is, you can raise as much money as you want. The hard thing is getting that money to the athlete through NIL Go and some of the parameters that were set. So having the money is one thing, but having ethical ways of moving the money to the athlete is always the issue.
I mean, obviously, you're not the basketball general manager, but is the mindset on how you construct the roster within NIL pretty similar to how the basketball GMs are doing it? Do you guys, is it kind of similar mindset in terms of roster construction?
I don't have too many conversations with Nate or Preston. I mean, we're all stressed during that time of year, the portal. I think basketball, they use a little more they use analytics because I think with basketball, you're gonna have a higher hit rate of taking kids from lower levels or other conferences. You can go down to D2, FCS because there's not the physicality of football.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, like NATO is a really big analytical guy, and you can find, let's say, your system requires, outside shooters or guys that are, have high percentage shots in certain parts of the court or point guard that doesn't turn the ball over. You can find analytics to help you find those guys on the lower levels. With football, now you can find a guy that has double-digit stats, but then again, it's the SEC. So is he big, strong, and fast enough to compete and do it at this level? So
One
there's a
dude,
little
he
crossover,
entering the
but for the
transfer
main
portal
part of
to
the
jail
season, we
though.
have more players on the
Alabama
roster.
player, he going to
That's a
jail
big deal. And for basketball, I think if you
on the
have a
Tuscaloosa County.
smaller budget and you're paying, four or five key guys, that's enough to carry you to a championship or a deep run in the tournament. With football, you're trying to pay 60, 70 guys.
Are you getting a sense from players that they're more interested in getting the bag?
Oh, it's self-explanatory. Yeah, that was kind of a dumb question. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't dumb, but it was like, you know, I knew the dude was gonna break it down for me.
A mixed bag.
70
It's a
guys over
mixed bag.
14
I
guys,
think
finding them every
a
year.
lot of
Like,
times the pressure on the kids to make
let's be
some
real.
money,
Basketball, football, it ain't
quote
the
unquote,
same, brother.
bag comes from outside factors, external factors, family, agents. At the end of the day, there's still a good number of kids that love football. And that's what we try to, when I talk about hitting on the person, is finding
We
kids that
gonna
love
we gonna
football,
get to this
finding
college
kids that don't.
football playoff. What
Yeah,
he's
it would be
talking about.
awesome.
Damn. Skip the 10 seconds. You know what to do. Skip the 10 seconds. Come on.
Eve Online is a vast universe.
Double tap. We
So
there.
it'd be awesome. I think it'd be good for the sport. I think that it definitely take the pressure off a lot of people, but yeah, I think the playoffs are fun. I think people enjoy it, and yeah, I'll be open to that.
And before
Good
we get
time
you out of here, Courtney,
if you win.
the annual showcase that you guys got going on, how does it sort of help with overall recruitment as well?
I think us being trailblazers, being able to showcase to recruits what we're doing and how we're going out there trying to create platforms for our.
Don't you think the spring game should be like in the summer or something? I don't know. I feel like it should be in like June. Maybe June's a good time for this. It just I feel like 100 days is just like you need to put it at like 75, like 50 days, somewhere around there between college football. It's too long. You can't just keep blue balling us every time with this football every year. Gotta wait.
Players to
I'm
become
just
more
playing.
marketable.
Mm-hmm.
I think we take almost like our own inside creative agency approach, where you come to Alabama and you have people internally who are out trying to find deals. You don't have to rely on your representation. When you come here, we're aligning you with, we're big on storytelling. Being able to tell your story. Everyone knows in marketing is storytelling, right? So when you can create avenues, original content for players that come from in house, and we can control the narrative, we can control the production. It allows players to see that I can come to Alabama and be in alignment. I use that word a lot, but we welcome the player's creativity, even working with the representation, and all to benefit the player.
Can't have that. Yeah, how that you seen Ryan Williams painting his fingernails, and I'm not saying nothing wrong with that, but he doing a lot of la di da di da stuff over there. You know, and some people, some wrong. He ain't gonna have a lot of these kids. I'm just saying they want to be coached. They can have a say so. Hey, talk to them, coach them up. If they're not getting something right, ask questions about it. They can ask the coach about what's going on. How can I get better in this instance? You talking about, hey, we'll work with you if you wanna, ruin the team and not ruin the team, but you get what I'm saying a little bit. You want to act out. If you act in this type of way, we'll let you act this type of way and see how you fit with team in a certain sense. Like Jamal Williams, like with his Naruto stuff. I don't know if you know who Jamal Williams is, but he's a running back for the Cowboys now. He used to be a running back with the Lions and the Saints. He was with this Naruto anime, and the coach was like, if he wasn't doing that, that's not Jamal Williams. And that's kind of what I hear out of his mouth a little bit. Like, if the players, I'm not saying not don't be yourself, but in a sense, you got to get coached. Like, they're trying to make boys into men here. So that's all I'm trying to say.
and give the player a platform to be more successful in the NIL world. But also, it takes time, right? And players have to understand that it's not an overnight thing. But for every player that comes in the door, we do have a plan for each and every player. You know, we do brand audits. We get to know the players. We get to educate them on what it looks like to build a brand and align with the right companies.
So many opportunities now because a lot of people ain't going to make it to the league. So, they got a whole bunch of opportunities that way and everything. But it used to be different back in the day from what the old players used to say. I'm
Every
not from
company is
my
not
point of
meant for
view. I'm
every
just
player. So
their point
telling
of
players
views.
like, hey, you might want to turn down
And I missed that.
these three deals because they're not really for you. Yeah, you might make a little money, but to be able to scale with the right company, it's going to last you way past your career here at Alabama.
Mm.
So in turns, we're also educating our players to understanding, how to build relationships and foster relationships that when they go to NFL because of what they did at Alabama, those relationships don't leave, right? They carry over. And a lot of times when you tell stories, you also pull in emotional heartstrings of people and people get attached to players. And it's not always the star
Right.
player. I think here we have something for everyone. If you look at our roster and the people who are participating with the things that Walter Brock is building, it's not just for the guys
Do
catching
that.
touchdowns. And that goes with storytelling, right? And getting guys to understand they need to tell their story and partnering with the brands that want to work with our players and see the long term and
SEC is
longevity
very
of the
good at that
relationship.
storytelling.
Courtney, this has been so insightful.
And that has been the interview from Courtney Morgan. If y'all enjoyed that, let me know if y'all want me to interview y'all general manager. 'Cause what's going on in Iowa? Like, man, I don't know what their general manager is. I'm privy to know. Virginia Tech, I see Josh Pate. He's going around the country interviewing all the head coaches. We'll see. It's still F Penn State though, and it's forever F Penn State. And Penn State will have a bad record this year. Penn State, I hope they burn in hell for what they did to James Franklin and their fans and how they talking about James Franklin. Talk about him crazy one more time. It's gonna be me and you.